This show on the road. And welcome to tonight's meeting of the Georges River Council Sports Advisory Committee, and I declare the meeting open at 6:05. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this meeting has been held, the Aboriginal people of the Eora Nations, and I extend the respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I also want to acknowledge the presence of course, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Borg, a fellow councillor, Councillor Vinyavi Hepaha, and Councillor Natalie Moore, and our previous Mayor and State Member, the Honourable Kevin Green. So let's go to apologies. Do we have any? No apologies? Okay. We can now... we have a request to attend the meeting via audio visual link, and that's from Joshua Elias, Benini Hazipetros, and Kate Joveski. Is that correct?
Craig Young.
And Craig Young.
And Sean Brohier.
Sorry? Sean Brohier. Okay. Notice of live streaming. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being broadcast live to the public on Council's website in accordance with Section 5 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice. The recording will be made available on Council's website. The Code of Meeting Practice, the order of business is as shown in your agenda, which has been made available. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recordings of meetings without the express permission of Council. Mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting. We'll go to the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. Could I have a mover? Councillor Evans, seconder. Tanya Smith, thank you. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. The next item on the agenda is the Sporting Infrastructure Capital Works update, and that will be carried out by the Manager of City Technical Services, Tom Peake. Thank you, Tom. Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Okay. It's got stuck together.
Tom, can you just... Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, my pages were stuck together. The first hope... You can sit there. Sorry, the pages got stuck together, and we've got Pride in Sports. Yeah. And I'd like to welcome Caitlin Bunker from Pride Cup, who will provide an overview of the Pride Cup organisation. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Sorry, Tom, didn't mean to push you out of the way. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Caitlin Bunker. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the current engagement director at Pride Cup. I'm a footy fan. I'm a footy player. I've grown up playing sports my whole life, and I was the recent captain at Collingwood Football Club in the VFLW. And I think leading and creating spaces where everybody feels welcome to be 100% themselves creates really amazing community environments and high performance environments. And I guess that's why I'm really proud to work for Pride Cup and really happy to kind of share my experiences with you today. So Pride Cup began as a powerful gesture of mateship at the Yarra Glen Football Netball Club. The guy in the middle, that's Jason Ball. You might have heard of him before. Jason was like a lot of kids around this country who grow up playing their sport at one local footy or netball or soccer club. His dad was a coach, his mum was on the committee, and all of his teammates were his best friends. He actually didn't come out as gay to his teammates until the second last year of his career, when he was an adult of around my age. When he did decide to come out, his teammates asked him, "What took you so long to come out? We're your mates, we've known you for your whole life." And he turned to them and said, "It's not actually direct discrimination that I've faced, it's just the casual homophobia in our own locker rooms that have made me feel unsafe." They were pretty horrified to hear that. As I said, they were his best friends. So in a display of acceptance and respect and understanding, they decided to throw together what was known as the first Pride game. The 50-metre lines on the football field were painted as rainbows, and Jason was encouraged to stand up in front of all participating teams and share his story and talk about why inclusion for the LGBTIQA community is so important. This game garnered a lot of media attention and actually inspired the first Pride match between the Sydney Swans and St Kilda Football Club. And Jason then turned what was then known as Pride Cup into an organisation who I now work for today. We've now had events over the last 5 years right across the country in over 28 sports, and I'll talk through a little bit of why this movement is so important. So these stats on the screen here are from the Allenwood Field study conducted in 2015. It was the first international study into the experiences of lesbian, gay and bi athletes, and it essentially showed that sports are a pretty horrific environment for homophobia and transphobia. 80% of Australians have experienced or witnessed homophobia in sport. 87% of young gay men are completely or partially in the closet while playing sport. And 75% of those who were surveyed in this study believed that an openly gay spectator would not be safe at a sporting event. You might be sort of thinking, well, that was 9 years ago. We've had marriage equality. I'm sure we've seen change on the social stage. They repeated this study 5 years later and found that although societal attitudes towards the community had shifted a lot in sports, those figures stayed the same. When we talk about the impact of this problem, it particularly affects young LGBTIQ people. Young LGBTIQ people are 6 times more likely to take their own lives, and the average age of that first suicide attempt is 16 years old. So in addressing the problem, we believe that sport really, particularly in the Australian context, has the power to shape communities and to create safe and welcoming places for everybody, their families, and through sport we will see change in communities and in society. Whether it's your local footy club or your netball club, particularly in regional areas, we know that sports clubs really are the heart of towns and really where people come together to connect, to experience health benefits, to have stronger mental health and to create ties with the community as well. So when we talk about who we're helping, these figures on the screen sort of give you an example of just how many people identify as part of the LGBTIQ community. It's around 15% that we know, but the current census actually doesn't let people identify or share their sexuality, their gender identity, or anything about their pronouns. So this number is likely much greater. So what is the Pride Club model and what do we actually do to create more welcoming communities? The first is we support community right through to elite leagues and sporting teams to host what is known as a Pride game or a Pride round. It essentially is a celebration match or a day or a whole round in the sport where teams don a rainbow Guernsey or rainbow netball bibs or whatever your sport, a rainbow uniform, and come together in a visible display of acceptance. A lot of the time we'll have opening ceremonies, we'll have key community members from schools to local MPs to famous sports people come down and share their stories and inspire the community, and we'll welcome local health and community organisations down to host stalls and hand out information. So we support local teams to actually execute the game day, to plan for the game day and to make sure they're considering all the elements that they need to make the day successful. We pair game days with LGBTIQA inclusion education. So we'll work with clubs, we'll go down to a training in the week leading up to their game day, and we'll educate the players on why inclusion is so important in sports, what the acronym stands for, how to embed inclusion into your team values, and basically what the benefits are of making everybody in your team feel safe and welcome. The sessions include elements of personal storytelling, of goal setting and of value setting for teams. So it's really an opportunity in the lead up to game day to kind of air any concerns and to educate everybody on why it's so important. So on game day, everybody can feel free to celebrate and just enjoy the day. The combination of these two things, so the game day and the education piece, have been reviewed by Monash Uni, and they found that when teams participate in the game day and in education, they see up to a 40% reduction in homophobia and transphobia. The third element of that is creating safer communities beyond the football field. So we work with teams to gain more media coverage about the issues, to celebrate local LGBTIQ heroes and sports people. We invite local health organisations and schools down, as I said before, and we help clubs communicate a zero tolerance approach to discrimination. And we know that it's working. We've only been around or professionalised for the last 5 years, and that includes 2020, in which not a lot of sports happened, unfortunately. And we've reached 831 teams across the country in 28 different sporting codes. We've had some events in New South Wales in orienteering and Quidditch. The opportunities really are endless in how people might participate and have a rainbow-themed event. So now where you come in, how can Georges River Council make sport everyone's game? It can be really difficult. It's my day job, so I know very well to work with people who are time poor, but really passionate, who drive community clubs forward, but who have limited time and resources to do these sorts of events. So this is why Pride Cup exists, and this is how we provide support. Basically, we work one-on-one with any clubs who sign up to host a Pride event to work through any issues that arise. We're supported by a few gold sponsors who support us with our travel costs, so we actually can go to any place in Australia and support at any point. And we can adapt our offerings to any cultural sensitivities or needs as well. But yeah, drawing on our model, we would love to work with you to reach teams within your council to help create a more inclusive LGA. Just up on the screen, you can see the services that we provide when we work in partnership with LGAs. So we'll provide a bespoke workbook to any club who signs up to host a game day. We'll provide education to those clubs, and that's not just for the players, that's for coaches, administrators, parents, anybody who wants to come down and be involved. We help teams and clubs promote their events, and we provide logistics support on game day as well. We sell rainbow merch, which helps amp up the visibility of the game day, and we provide discounts to teams who become Pride Cup teams. And we're able to support teams to advocate for more inclusive facilities and to adapt their bathroom signage to be more inclusive, and provide training to security staff about the event as well. I've got the investment tiers up on the board there, but I'm happy to work with Heidi to circulate some more information about any of this as and when required. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them or work with Heidi to do so after. But thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Sorry. Thank you for that. Now open it up for questions, even commentaries. No? Okay. Well, we've got and I'm sure that the director will be in touch with you in the future so that you can actually work together and see what we can do here at Georges River. But there is a recommendation, and that the Georges River Council Sports Advisory Committee receive and note the verbal presentation from the Engagement Director, Pride Cup, providing an overview about the Pride Cup organisation, how community sporting clubs can host their own Pride Cup events in the Georges River local government area and attend the Pride Cup education session. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Kevin Green, seconded by Elise Borg. Is there any discussion, any further questions? Anything? No? All right, well, I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried unanimously, and thank you for coming along. It's most appreciated.
Thanks so much for having me.
We go on to the next item, and that's current infrastructure grant opportunities, and it's a report by our Coordinator, Programming and Operations Manager, Andrew Williams. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone, and those playing at home. Pardon the pun yet again. I love to throw that in every quarter. Tonight, I'm just going to talk about current grant opportunities and the process once again for applying for grants. So at the moment, we have the Play Our Way program available. So these are grants available from 50,000 to 1.5 million through two different streams. Those streams are facilities. So with facilities, the projects that establish and improve sporting facilities that are designed for women and girls and further encourage them to take part in sport and physical activity by better meeting their needs. Applicants will be able to apply for these grants between 50 and 1.5 million, as previously advised. This process is a two-pronged process, so it's an expressions of interest application form initially, and then the department will shortlist those applications or those submissions and invite for a full grant application for consideration in mid to late 2024. So to be eligible for that project, the eligibility is with regards to construction activities which occur after the execution of the grant agreement and result in the delivery of the project before 30th of June 2027. Another example is construction of new and or modified facilities such as playing areas and spaces for sport and physical activity to make them more inclusive, safe and accessible, and provide equitable and enduring opportunities for women and girls to train and compete in. And a construction of new and or upgraded amenities such as change rooms, showers, toilets, etc. at facilities for sport and physical activity that improves access, safety and use by women and girls and financially sustainable. The second part of that is participation and equipment. So this is only a one-stage process. It's for programs that encourage women and girls once again to participate and remain involved in sport and physical activity by tackling barriers such as disadvantage or lack of equipment, and for programs that will lead to sustained cultural change in sport. So applicants can once again apply for grants between 50,000 and 1.5 million. Examples of this would be modification and or new sport and physical activity programs that provide opportunities for women and girls to engage across a variety of sport roles, example, coaching and officiating. Enduring programs that consider and overcome the barriers to sport and physical activity, participation amongst women and girls, including increasing equitable access opportunities for participation, flexible programming delivery to better meet the needs of women and girls, reducing costs associated with sport and or physical activity participation, and building a culture of equity, respect and inclusion in sport and physical activity. So this grant program closes on the 29th of April. Tomorrow I'll distribute some of this further information to you so you can disseminate that to your clubs. But please, once I've sent that information out to you, if you've got any further questions, please reach out to me as well. So need grant funding. So we've covered this in a previous Sports Advisory Committee meeting. So grantshub.com.au is almost a one-stop shop for a variety of grants that you can apply for and see what's available at any given time. The grantshub.com.au, you basically sign up, search for your particular grant of interest and see what's available. So before that, the process from council side is before you apply for a grant, contact council senior programming and bookings officer, Jeremy Hasham, in the room tonight. Then you'll be sent a council community asset upgrade request form and to complete. Once you've completed that form outlining the purpose of the project and details, council will review the form, and then depending on the scope of the project, it will need to be, it may need to be included in council's budget process. And the final step is approval granted, supported or denied. Here's an example of the community asset upgrade request form. So it's about I think from memory, about a 6-page, pretty easy to complete form, but council can assist you with that matter as well. The timing for this though, so you can contact council at any time during the year, but prior, once again, to applying for any grant funding or purchasing an asset. So you need to provide enough notice for an officer to review, which is approximately 4 weeks to turn around, and we then may need to come back to you for further information. Prioritising projects, so how council does it, we look at the asset condition, the existing asset condition, we'll inspect it, we determine the risk involved in that asset, the demand for the community and the sport, the strategic alignment to council strategies and policies, and then the ongoing costs and maintenance of the building as well. But remember, speak to us first, and once again, contact council's Senior Programming and Bookings Officer, Jeremy Hasham. Any questions?
Thank you, Andrew. It's quite a lot to cover in a few minutes. So I encourage the peak organisations of every code to actually apply for the grants. There's $1.5 million there to be spent. And I understand that in some cases you might find filling out the forms being a little bit difficult, but I strongly suggest you get, once you look up those grants that may pertain to you, bring Andrew and get him to help you fill it out.
Myself or Jeremy, yes.
Are there any questions or any comments that people would like to make? Well, thank you very much, Andrew.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, the recommendation that the Georges River Council Sports Advisory Committee receive and note the verbal presentation from the Coordinator Programming and Operations, on the current infrastructure grant opportunities and application approval process. That's right. Could I have a
I'll
mover?
move it.
Councillor Ball, seconder. Mark, thank you. I'll put that, if there's no more discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. And all those against say no. I declare it carried. And it's your turn, Tom. Thank you. It's the Sporting Infrastructure Capital Works update.
Good evening, councillors and committee members. I'm here to provide the Q3 update on the 23-24 Sports Capital Works program, particularly focused on the sports infrastructure that we're doing at the moment. Being Q3, we're looking to progress a lot of these projects through the construction phase. A lot of these are single-year projects that we're trying to finish within this financial year. So if we look at the projects up on the board, Percival Oval Sporting Community Pavilion. So this one's now complete. It actually has its formal opening next week. And it has already been utilised by cricket, which had a successful season. We like to think thanks to the change facilities. The Renown Park Irrigation, Drainage and Field Upgrade Project. This is the drainage, obviously the significant reconstruction of Field 2 at Renown Park. We unfortunately have hit some contamination issues, which we seem to hit a lot in terms of the open space that council manages. So we've had some minor delays on this project. July 2024 is the expected completion date, but my project managers are progressing this project and pushing it where we can to expedite that and mitigate the impact to rugby league and soccer on that facility. Olds Park Premium Sporting Facility. So this is a significant multi-year project. Within this financial year, we're looking to develop the detailed design prior to construction in next financial year. This project has gone through the first stage of internal and external stakeholder consultation. In that stage, we understand the wants and needs of sporting and community groups. We take that back to the architect. The architect has just completed the floor plan for the concept design. We've gone back with a couple of internal comments prior to external and internal stakeholder consultation occurring in the coming weeks. So at this point in time, the sporting clubs that utilise this facility get an understanding of what we're proposing the facility to look like. We get to understand how that works for them and where there are issues prior to us going into the detailed design of that. When we progress into detailed designs of these projects, we generally don't go back for consultation because we've had that understanding already from the sporting clubs of what they need. Todd Park is along a similar vein. However, this doesn't have a construction timeframe at this point in time. It's just the design of this process. So the consultants have been engaged. We've obtained all the information from internal and external stakeholders of their wants and needs for this one, and the architect is in the process of developing the concept design for this. We'll once again go back to stakeholders prior to progressing to detailed design. Lugano Passive Watercraft Launching Facility. So this is a design within this financial year and a construction in next. We're actually about to go out to community consultation on this one with a concept design. And so within, I'd say, the next week, we'll be out through our Your Say and through the website in terms of getting information from the local passive watercraft users of what they want to see in this facility compared to what we've designed in the concept stage before we progress to detailed design and construct. Fulton Park retaining wall. This is just a minor retaining wall construction that's so adjacent to the netball courts at Fulton Park. The construction of a third netball court is in the process of being investigated prior to that progressing. The lower Fulton Park sporting amenities. So this is just a public amenity, but it is adjacent to sporting facilities. So that construction is progressing with the expected completion within June 2024. I'd note that these are estimated completion dates, weather permitting. Obviously, with the weather at the moment and tomorrow, we won't be working. Smith Park Bocce Court. So we've had significant consultation and back and forth with the local bocce players to get a design that really fits their wants and needs while also mitigating impact to Smith Park. So we've come to an agreement on this, and we're actually out for the engagement of a detailed design and construction contractor at this point in time. This will be completed by June 2024. Hurstville Oval lighting. That's the significant construction of lighting down at Hurstville Oval to develop another night facility for sport. We're saying June 2024, however, we're looking to do the testing of this in the coming weeks. So we think this will be earlier than June 2024. So that's an exciting thing for winter sports this season at Hurstville Oval. Charles Pirie Reserve lighting. This project changed from being the expansion of lighting capacity at the site to the reconstruction of all lights in the facility based on a structural failure of existing infrastructure. So this had to go through a broader funding and tender process. So we're looking to take this to the May council meeting for progression to construction by December 2024. And then the Penshurst Park Sporting Hub operable fence went to the March 2024 council meeting, where council approved the progression of this to detailed design, development consent and subsequent construction. So this will go back out through our processes of engaging a detailed designer and subsequent construction of that in the coming months prior to an expected completion date in the next financial year. So that's a bit of a synopsis of where our current projects are at and what we're working on at the moment. And I guess for the next meeting, we'll be looking at what we're doing in the 24-25 program as a proposal. Any questions?
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions that people might want to pose? Any comments? Yeah.
No.
No? All right. Well, the recommendation in this case is that Georges River Council Sports Advisory Committee receive and note the verbal presentation from the Manager, City Technical Services, providing an update on sporting infrastructure projects within Council's 23-24 Capital Works Program. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Hall, Mr. Smith. All those in favour, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. And we'll go on to the next one, which is the Spatial Framework Development, Peakhurst Park, HB Everett Park. And that's from
me again.
Oh, you're already there, Tom. Thank you. Okay, Tom.
So this is just a presentation on the spatial frameworks that my team are developing. So the context of what these are, keep pressing the wrong button, I think. So the purpose of a spatial framework is to set the vision for delivering integrated open space community environmental assets that meet individual and community needs and access requirements while improving condition and management potential. So that sounds great. So what that actually is so we've got a number of master plans and plans of management for our significant parks and recreational facilities across the LGA, but we have a number of, I don't want to call them sub, but I'm going to say lesser fields and parks where they actually sit under our generic plan of management. So they don't have what would per se be classified as a master plan to drive what we're doing at these facilities. So my team's purpose of this is to develop spatial frameworks. So they're not master plans, but they're really a bit of a design guideline and a construction guideline of what we look to see at these facilities. So what we're working on at the moment is HV Everett and Peakhurst Park, which are significant sporting, open space and community reserves that sit under these generic plan of managements. So it's a bit of this provides us a bit of a guideline of where we're going to progress capital works in the future at these facilities. So my team, which includes the landscape architects, have been progressing this. We've had internal and external stakeholder consultation to understand the uses of these facilities to date, and then guide how we develop these in the future. So we've had a couple of council resolutions previously associated with the design, investigation and subsequent construction of sporting amenities at some of these facilities. So the understanding of this is to get a glean into who uses these facilities, how they can be better improved for community use. So Peakhurst Park, which is a significant sporting facility, which includes a synthetic field, went out through December and January for preliminary consultation. So we understood and went to the sporting clubs and associations that use this site to understand how they use it and what they want to see in the future. And we've subsequently developed a concept spatial framework for that, which we're looking to go back out to the community on to comment on. Well, we're out now. What's the date today? Yes. So we're out at the moment for that one through Your Say. HV Everett, where we went through the process of developing similarly the concept designs and asking the wants and needs of the community. That's under development. We'll be going back out in mid-2024 to provide that information to the community. So these Your Say opportunities give sporting associations and clubs an opportunity to speak on what they want to see at these facilities. So we can subsequently understand the asset management approach to those when we look to develop future capital works programs. So I encourage anyone that utilises those facilities, associations and sporting clubs to please comment during those times, because this is where you get your opportunity for council to understand what you really want at that facility. That's all I've got to say on that one.
Thank you, Tom.
Questions on that one?
I just have a question. Yeah, just who were the sporting clubs that you've notified for both of those two? Like who are the users of those parks?
Yeah, so we worked with the community team and Andrew Williams' team in terms of who currently hires that facility and who uses that, and we've gone directly to those clubs as well as going through the broader Your Say process.
I was just wondering if you could name who they are, because I'm not with Peakhurst. I don't know exactly who it is that uses it.
Yes, Peakhurst has the synthetic, which is through St George Football, but you've then got League, Touch Football and all those different associations. So off the top of my head, I couldn't say specifically who they are, but there's also cricket. So it's those broader sporting groups that utilise the existing facility.
And has the council gone to the governing body like Football St George as opposed to the actual clubs that that's their home ground?
Yeah, so St George Football is our lead point with the guys that they direct who utilises that facility. But it also goes through the Your Say page, and we also letterbox drop surrounding residents and also signposted the facilities. So anyone who goes down there for recreational or active sporting would have had the capacity to note that, use the QR codes or the links to actually go back to the Your Say and provide that insight.
And so what's out on Your Say currently, is that the spatial framework or
concept
The
of that.
concept. So,
Yes.
is in terms of the concept that's proposed, are there big changes that have been suggested in the concept of the spatial framework?
Not particularly. It's just more a consolidation of what's there now, with the focus on the future use and the open space programs and policies that are there in terms of universal accessibility and providing broader facilities for accessibility to the community. So these once we go through that community stage, we'll go to council for a briefing, just for councillors to get their further input prior to it just being an operational document.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman, could I just
Yeah.
make an observation that could you put the St George District Rugby League Football Club on your mailing list in relation to these,
Yeah.
the framework and green space and that? We haven't been notified. It might have gone through the St George Junior League,
Yeah.
but the district is it's a different body, and we'd like to know
Sure.
what opportunities might be
Sure.
coming up for rugby league in the Georgia Council area. So if you just put us on your notification list or whatever you call it, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Craig. The director has taken note of that, and I'm sure you'll be on the notification list.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? There being none, the recommendation on this one is that Georges River Council's Sports Advisory Committee receives and note the verbal presentation from the Manager of City Technical Services providing information on the development of spatial frameworks for Pecos Park and HV Evan Park. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Mover Kevin Green, seconder Councillor Hall. No more discussion, so I'll put all those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Thank you. I declare it carried. And now we're going to an update on Cars Park Aquatic Facilities. Tom, you're on stage again.
That's me again. So this is just our regular update on the Cars Park Aquatic Facility. Obviously, there's the two parts of this project. There's the demolition and remediation of the existing aquatic facility, where hoarding is being installed around the existing adjacent car park next Monday, weather permitting, with the demolition to commence the following week. So this is a 6 to 8 month remediation project that develops it back to the site, back to open space for its future use, with whatever that be, meeting the DA requirements. So we've provided, noting that we're coming into sporting season and with significant use of the Cars Park flats. The Cars Park Hill car park will be open permanently for use, while we're also providing a temporary car park over on Carlton Crescent, as you can see with that red arrow. So this provides the number of car parking spaces that would be lost from the pool car park during this period of time. We appreciate there's going to be some impact during this construction phase, but yeah, so that's where that's progressing towards. So we're moving in the right direction with this one. And in terms of the new aquatic facility, we continue to see good news through the leader in terms of that we noted at the last Sports Advisory Committee that the state government has taken over responsibility for the development of the business cases and the subsequent DA and detailed design of this project. They're at gateway 1 of the strategic business case. Council's been providing insights where needed and where requested, and we look forward to hearing what they come back with, hopefully soon. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions or any commentaries that people would like to make?
I have just a question, but it's probably not directed at Tom. Just wondering, I don't know if anyone knows where the plan of management is up to. The latest on that was that we went out for consultation with the community. I'm just wondering if we know when the next phase of that part of the project will be progressing?
I can briefly speak to that.
Oh.
Yeah. So that the consultant has developed a high-level concept master plan that's gone through internal consultation at the moment, with comments being provided. That's then going back to a briefing, I believe, with council laws soon, and then that would go through the next phase of consultation and back up to the community.
Any further questions, comments? Okay, well, the recommendation for that one is that the George River Council Sports Advisory Committee receive and note the verbal update from the Manager of City Technical Services on the Carrs Park Aquatic Facilities. The mover and Mark moved it. Councillor Borg, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried, and we're now going to Mr. Coleman, the Manager of Premium Facilities. Thank you. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. This is a report which is basically an update on the premium facilities portfolio, as explained in the executive summary. I'll just go through and really sort of highlight some of the more high-profile points that I've put in the report. Firstly, to do with, I suppose, our flagship venue in many ways, being the Jubilee Stadium. We've commenced the actual NRL season with the Dragons playing the North Queensland Cowboys on the 23rd of March, and that was followed the day after with a family fun day for the Dragons members at the venue as well. We've also been hosting the junior representative fixtures for St George District Junior Rugby League, and they've played 3 fixtures to date, the 10th February, 16th March and 30th of March. These fixtures feature between 2 and 5 games on the day, so the stadium's getting well used in that respect with the junior reps. We're just still on the stadium. We've actually gone into the pitch renovation period prior to the winter season, which involves, in addition to scarifying, which is removing the organic matter under the leaf, we're also doing a ryegrass oversow, which basically is a winter grass, and that will really stand the turf surface in good order for the winter season, as you'll definitely see on the television screen. Comes up very well. So really that during that period of renovation, the actual turf, the pitch is not available, and that'll finish at the end of April. Just on to Hurstville Oval. Football St George have access to Hurstville Oval on weekends from the end of April, and we're doing a bit of a renovation at just on the outer field at Hurstville Oval, which will be finished by then, and we'll hopefully soon after that, when we get lights on the oval, then we'll be having training as well 5 nights a week. So through the winter season, Hurstville Oval has really become available and well used right through the winter season, which is, it's been a while since that's actually that's happened, but I think with the facilities there now, that's all year round, including the cricket, it's going to be a very well used facility. Hurstville Glory will be playing their games there and training there as well. Olds Park, well, that's transitioning out of the cricket season into the AFL season. pre-season training already started for the AFL, and traditionally, as usual, they don't wear boots during the while the cricket is still on for that pre-season training. At Pence's Sporting Hub, we've basically got a full book for the winter season. Hardly any space. I mean, St George City and Hurstville, Zagreb are training there and playing their games there, as well as Football St George playing games there on the weekends, on available Sundays. There's a lot of regular school bookings at Penshurst Park, where schools actually utilise the facility quite extensively through the week. Harold Fraser, another one of our Tier 1 grounds, is used all year round with by St George District Rugby League teams who actually utilise the gym in the pavilion there. And in addition, through the winter, it's used by Carlton Rovers for their games and also training. With some shared training nights there that are scheduled. And lastly, just on, it's been reported to council that there's been some failings of basketball equipment or equipment associated with the basketball courts at the Hurstville Aquatic Leisure Centre, which we're addressing in particular. More immediately, the replacement of the divider nets between the courts, which we see as a safety issue, and there's planning for further equipment upgrade in the new financial year. That brings my report to a close.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Any commentaries?
A couple of questions, if I may.
Sure.
Just on the divider nets for the basketball at Hurstville Aquatic Leisure Centre, I just wanted to ask the question: has council sought feedback from St George Basketball in regards to their needs for those dividers? Because they've explained to me that they have quite specific needs, especially between court. I think it's court 1 and 2, which is where the tiered seating is, and their request is that there's the black mesh kind of goes up 2.1 metres as a divider between the two courts. So the question is, have you reached out to St George Basketball on their needs for the netting?
What we have done, councillors, we're utilising companies that specifically produce this equipment, and we're just waiting on a final quote, but we haven't actually spoke to the basketball club as such, but we know it's required basically, because with my head of operations and events has actually run the indoor facilities at MSAC in Melbourne, which they employ these sort of dividers at the courts there all the time. So, I mean, if there's any additional...
I guess it's just the point is it's not their needs, as I understand, is not a direct replacement of what is there now. So it's just...
So, Councillor Bogg, I think just to add to what Luke's saying, we're out there for quote at the moment. It is actually quite specialised. There's only a couple of suppliers that we can actually get hold of. Once we get those prices in, we will be talking to Basketball New South Wales, St George Basketball, and also the operator, Bluefit, to make sure that the requirements are actually suitable. So we're just waiting for those quotes to come in before we actually take that next step of engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I have just another question just on Jubilee. So whilst we're not utilising the field space between 2nd and 30th of April, do we have any functions or bookings or anything else scheduled or planned or booked in at to maximise the use of the site at that time?
We've had some inquiries and we're following up on. So in that sort of, I suppose, downtime as far as the actual use of the playing surface is when we actually can concentrate on the other possible use of the stadium. in so much of the functional facilities and also film shoots, which we've been, I wouldn't say inundated, but we've become a regular location for film and television shoots as well. So that's what in that sort of period of renovation as well, and we also concentrate on the marketing of the facilities as well.
Again, just to add to that, the team also confirmed, we had our operation meeting this morning. The team's confirmed, look, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was between 15 and 17 events have now been either had or booked in for the season, which is substantial growth in terms of what we thought we were going to have. So they've managed to secure a couple of different sports at the event.
Is that utilising the field space or utilising the function?
That's utilising the field space. The function space, as Luke indicated, it's been a little bit hit and miss, but they are still really pushing that. There's been a lot of activity in terms of film shoots. What was the TV series, Luke?
Oh, Prosper.
Prosper. So you'll see the features on Prosper in the camp out.
New Toyota electric car out. We've got exactly 1 second of the whole stream of it out there. But the actual is when it comes to filming, I mean, they can spend a whole day and only end up with a few seconds that they use in the
I have a question, just maybe a question that's got to do with operational matters rather than you, Luke. On invitation from Ray Barbie, who's the president of St George Basketball, who's present there, and I welcome him to this meeting. I went and watched a couple of matches, or a few matches one evening, and the one thing that sort of I was a bit concerned about was the facilities there for the basketball. All I know is that the men's toilets, of course, which was, I don't know, just a couple of cubicles and a couple of urinals and nothing much more. Is there any plans in the future to be able to sort of rectify that situation? Because I don't think when I see the number of people there using that, where do we go? Is there, should we not be looking at that a little bit further?
The Council Caterus, there, we have had a look at it. It's not an easy fix in terms of providing additional amenities with the available space that we've got there at the moment. In terms of the equipment associated with the Hurstville Aquatic Leisure Centre itself, there is a program of either replacement or new equipment that Luke and his team have identified over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. So there will be some new equipment replacements. With the amenities, it is a broader issue though. It's not something that we can fix overnight. It might even mean that we need to factor something into the stage 3 of the Johnny Warren Centre. I think it's not something that we could just retrofit with the available space.
Well, is there just another thing that's just a thought, and I'm not sure what the agreements are with regards to Bluefit, etc. Is there any way that if the amenities in the basketball area are sort of overflowing in terms of usage, can they go down to the pool area and say, "Could I use your toilet?"
Yeah, the answer is absolutely yes.
Sorry.
The answer is absolutely yes. They can.
They can. Okay. Well,
yep.
It's a matter for the operations persons to actually deal with that. But okay. Any further questions or any comments? No? All right. It's a receive a note recommendation. Could we just have a mover to receive a note and a seconder? Councillor Mayor and seconder. Tanya, thank you. As there's no more discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. And I think it's the last item on the agenda, which is the sports field maintenance update from Hans. Hi, Hans.
Hi. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. Good evening, everyone. I'll just give a very brief update on what we've been doing in terms of getting the fields prepared so that we can get through a complete season, assuming this weather outside doesn't hold up for too long. So just quickly, what we've just completed was at Beverley, Renown and Oatley, all couch surfaces, oversowing them with oversowing them with rice seed. That's now completed. And the reason we do that is obviously because couch fields go dormant in winter months, and putting this rice seed on helps rejuvenate the grass. It helps repair bare patches that couch can be prone to, reduce the risk of weeds overtaking, and basically just strengthens and increases the health of the sporting fields. So what we have done in preparation for the season, obviously we do that through the warmer months. We were quite blessed, although it was painful for a lot of people with that weather pattern that we saw. A lot of rain, a lot of heat, a lot of rain, a lot of heat is actually great for the fields. So we've seen some good results in readiness to kick off the season, the winter season. Changeover, as just mentioned, changing from summer to winter, so covering the cricket wickets, that type of thing. I spoke about the couch just previously. Slow release fertilisers to promote root growth, give us better coverage, better overall turf health, and also the irrigation schedules. We've adjusted those, obviously, as we now move into the cooler, wetter months. So the next part, or the last part of the presentation, was just to give an update on how we manage wet weather in terms of closing grounds and that sort of thing, because I know that's a source of pain for a lot of people. So essentially we monitor that, and once we get our level trigger is 10 mil within 24 hours, we will go and inspect, and that is basically check the water is present on the surface. Some surfaces hold water better than others, or worse than others, whichever way you look at it. And we sample 3 or 4 grounds, and then we make a blanket call on that. Obviously, yeah, the ground softens and can hit saturation point, and then basically every mil of water is just topping it up. So it's very hard to dry those particular ones. And obviously, if we allow play on those, then they're going to be a mess fairly quickly. And you know, like I said at the start, pre-season, we want to have those fields right through to finals time in good order. So that's why we make those calls sometimes. Also, if there's multiple days of less than 10 mil, so if we get 3 consecutive days of say 5 millimetres, that also triggers that 10 mil. Yeah, sort of thing. So it's not just a straight out fixed thing. We apply a lot of common sense and logic to it, and consideration of the time of the year, and is it getting close to finals, and all of those sorts of things. But obviously, 2 main reasons: player safety. That's first and foremost. And point 2 is pretty much what I've just mentioned before. So irreparable damage to fields, and considering the longevity of the season, we need to keep that up our sleeves and stay on top. So yeah, that's just a very quick update. Obviously, with the weather pattern we're seeing at the moment, we will inspect fields of us that they've been inspected as late as they possibly can. I know that can cause inconvenience to the associations, but yeah, we're expecting to see between 150 and 200 millimetres in the next 24 hours. So we can expect the fields will more than likely be closed for some period of time. Yeah. I'm also the local emergency management officer for this LGA, and I've been receiving regular updates from the SES all day. And yeah, they're just basically saying batten down in the next 24 hours. But they say also that it should pass fairly quickly as it moves further down south. Yeah.
Thank you, Hans. Questions, comments? Councillor Ball.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Just with the maintenance works on the fields you mentioned, Beverley Hills, Renown and Oatley,
Yes.
it's great that we're doing that to improve their surface, but can you just talk me through how the fields are selected? Are they on a yearly rotation? Is it based on budget? I guess other fields might be going to happen when I get in a turn. So if you could just explain that process of how they're selected.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Ball. Yeah, look, it is driven by budget. We only have a certain amount, and what we do is we look at the usage of, you know, the high use potential high impact fields and make a call on that. We would love to do all of our Cooch fields, but we just don't simply have the provision to do that. So yeah, there is a selection, but we will obviously next year consider other Cooch surfaces and perhaps do more of the smaller ones, less utilised, more value, I guess, that way. Yep.
Thank you.
Questions, comments? None? Okay, thank you for that, Hans. We have a recommendation of the presentation by the Manager of City Operations of Sports Turf Maintenance update be received and noted. Mover, seconder. Councillor Lear, seconder. Councillor Ball. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. And now we're going to the oh yeah, can all the council staff members providing updates on general business please come to the microphone? Thank you. Thank you.
Hi again, everyone. Just an update on the upcoming bookable booking system. So we're currently finalising a date for community capacity building workshops for sporting organisations. These will be scheduled late June, early July for implementation of the bookable system in August in time for the 2024 summer sporting season. Further information will be sent out to you once we've confirmed the date. Additionally, a couple of reports coming to council that may be of interest to you. The adoption of the Georges River Infrastructure Needs Assessment and Acquisition Area Strategy. This will be presented to council this month. We also have the review of the Georges River Sports Advisory Committee. That report will be scheduled to go to council in May as well. And in the coming months, we've got council's draft fees and charges for the 2024-2025 financial year. That will be placed on public exhibition. So during that public exhibition period is your opportunity to review those proposed fees for next financial year.
Thank you, Andrew. That's about it, I think. So I appreciate it. If there's any questions of Andrew, by all means. There being none, I declare this meeting closed at 8 minutes past 7. And thank you for coming. See you next time.